remembered for centuries. And we did. And Revan won. I don't hold a grudge against Revan, and neither do any of my people. It was the greatest moment of my life to be in that battle. If Revan had been a Mandalorian, nothing in the galaxy would have stopped us. But wishing for the past to be different is useless. Better look to the future, as we should now. We'll talk more later, I think. Is there something else you want to know? Your choice. I'm here if you want something done right.
How may I be of assistance to you, Padawan? What is it you would like to speak to me about? Of course.
Got something on your mind, do you? Manon's an unusual place. Not for its water, mind you. It's the Kolto, healing juice. Only place where it occurs in the galaxy. And that's about all I got to say about that. Now, let's get going. You got yourself a fast little ship? I'd forgotten what engine sounded like. The closest thing to that on Kashyyyk is an Uller in mating season. Ugh, frightful. Or it could be for the free food. What's the gunk that comes out of a synthesizer on this bucket anyway? Do you never clean the darn thing? I'm old, damn it. I'm allowed to be enigmatic when I want to be. And don't you go telling me otherwise. You know, you remind me of someone else I knew ages ago. Pleasant enough fellow, great destiny, all of that. Breath like a bantha. No, but it could be. An Anduvian salt tablet would clear that right up, you know. Anyway, where was I? Oh yes, Andor Vex was his name. The Force swirled around him like a hurricane. That's how great his destiny was. No, you wouldn't have. Sometimes swirling force is just swirling force. It gets us old Jedis excited at our age, so we go, ooh, destiny. Well, it turned out that poor Andor believed a wee bit too much in the infallibility of that destiny. That overconfidence turned out to be his downfall. I don't know. Are you overconfident? I hadn't noticed. Even if I had, I would never comment on it. We're talking about Andor, remember? Let's see. Oh yes, Andor's downfall. I was pretty young myself when it happened. At the time, I thought that Andor's destiny couldn't be more boring. Well, let's just say that I was a strapping young lad with a full head of hair, and Coruscant was a small town with a well. I was just about to abandon Andor to whatever the Force intended for him when his ship was overtaken by a Dimian warship. Now, you've probably never heard of the Dimians, but at the time they were a nasty lot led by a nastier overlord named Krat. Tall fellow, big teeth. Krat has us hauled onto the bridge of his ship for questioning, and that's when I knew that Andor's destiny was at hand. Swirling force, remember? Jedi here. Granted, I was just interpreting the signs, but we get trained in that sort of thing, more or less. Well, Andor decides that his destiny makes him invulnerable and starts making all sorts of demands. Free me now. I'm not answering questions. Blah, blah, blah. Don't you know who I am? Krat decides he's had enough and begins crushing Andor's neck. I told the boy he should have kept his mouth shut. I think he agreed too, or this could have just been gurgling noises. Well, anyway. Finally, Krat has enough of Andor and tosses him aside into this giant energy intake shaft. Andor gets sucked in and starts bouncing around, screaming. Maybe Andor hit something sensitive on the way down, or just didn't agree with the reactor core. Next thing I know, all the ship's alarms are ringing. Everyone panics, and I run, barely making it to the ship in time before the explosion. Krat dies horribly, and the Dymians never quite recovered. Changed the political course of the entire sector for centuries to come. I'd call that quite a destiny, wouldn't you? What? Are you kidding? What are the odds of that happening anyway? 1,000,000,000 to 1? You should do so well as to be sucked into the engine of some evil Sith Lord, you know. Andor was a hero. Sort of. Anyway, go on. My throat is dry and you're making me cranky. Shoo! Got something on your mind, dude? How many could you possibly need? And besides, I don't have enough supplies on me to put some more together. Ask me later when you're actually in need and I'm less tired. I'm not a kit factory, you know.
Hey there, what can I do for you? Maybe if we get these tat glands for him, things will work out. Or maybe he'll finally see the light and turn over a new leaf. I know it's not likely, but it's all I have to hope for. Huh?
Excuse me, have you seen a mechanic about? Short fellow, bald. I've been looking...
Well, I'll be a Wookiee's uncle. Davin? Davin Coatrus?
Jolie? Jolie Pinto? Why, you old freak. Last time I saw you, you were still wandering the galaxy in that old tug. I thought you were dead, old man.
I crashed somewhere and decided to stay.
Yeah, I'll just bet. Damn, old man, you look exactly the same as the last time I saw you. You pickle well.
You're too kind. Not the young lad anymore yourself, I see. What are you, deaf? His name's Davin. Old friend from my Wanderer days. By the by, Davin, I really should be running off.
Of course, old man. Oh, wait. If you've been traveling in this sector, I suppose you heard about Sunry?
No, why? What's there to hear?
He's been picked up by the Selkath authorities on Manaan for murder.
That's preposterous.
I know. Melora is beside herself, as you can imagine. Maybe you could help them. I'm sure Sunry would appreciate a Jedi's assistance right about now.
Perhaps I will at that. It's up to my friend here, actually. I'm just tagging along. I'd appreciate that. Sunry's an old friend. I'd hate to see him hurt.
Same here. Well, it was good to see you again. Give my regards to Alora if you see her.
I will. Be safe, old friend. Got something on your mind, dude? What? You think because I'm a hermit, I've always been a hermit? Just because I haven't seen Sunry for 20 years doesn't mean he's not a friend. A man could have changed a lot in that span of time, though. But to become a murderer, I can't see it. That's not the Sunry I know. He was a good man. Put me up in his home for a year back after I left the Order. War hero, too. Or so I hear. I wouldn't mind helping the fellow if we can. I owe it to him. Or you can be a young monkey lizard and ignore me, I guess. Well, I don't expect much these days. Got something on your mind, dude? Well, unless you're one of the local species and end up being slaughtered or enslaved, Tatooine's a nice enough desert. And that's about all I got to say about that. Now, let's get going. No, I never did I? Elusive? Me elusive? Obviously, you've never tried to grab a Twi'lek dancing girl after drinking too much Onderon Willick juice. At any rate, I already told you why I wanted to leave. I'd seen everything I wanted to on Kashyyyk. Time to go. Time to move on. To bed! I'm old and tired, you know. How many kilometer-high trees can you find an interest in before you figure you've had enough? I'd bet you can't be bothered to stay in one room for more than 15 minutes. And then there's all the critters in the Shadowlands. I'm just happy to be back in space, doing something new. Is that too much to ask? There. Now, was that so hard? An old man has to be allowed some petty eccentricities. Nice to see you agree for once. I'll admit, for all its flaws, Kashyyyk was home enough. But when you came along and I saw the destiny you had before you, I couldn't help but be intrigued. Of course not. Weren't you listening last time? I can see that you have a destiny before you, but the details are far from clear. In fact, everything about you that I can see is odd. Slightly off, as if my eyes are trying to trick me. Something is very dark about you. But, I'm sure you don't need to hear my ruminations. You've probably got enough nosy Jedi offering you one opinion after another to make you sick. Your future will come of its own accord, trust me. Sometimes navel-gazing at it doesn't get you anywhere. I wouldn't worry about it too much if I were you. You remind me a bit of Nomi. That can't be all bad. Nomi Sunrider. She came late to the Force, just as you have, and became one of the greatest Jedi ever. Oh, fine, fine lass. Whether you'll follow the same path remains to be seen. For one thing, we'll never get anywhere if you stand around chatting up old men all day. Nonsense. If I ever refused to help you when you asked, how confused can one person be anyway? One thing I will say is that this little escapade does remind me a bit of my adventuring days before the war. Those were exciting times. Or at least it would remind me of those times if we didn't stand around. What's keeping you? You're too young to be so talkative. Shoo! Shoo! Got something on your mind, dude? Oh, I get it. Let's play with the old man's head, is it? He's half senile. He'll forget I said anything. Wait, what was this about anyway?
Greetings again from the offices of Zerga Corporation. Is this about bounties or something else? Of course, you've done a good job for us and I'm happy to pay you. Farewell. Zerga Corporation welcomes your future inquiries.
You're back! I knew you'd come through for me. I knew I could count on you. You do have a tech land for me, right? Come to Papa, you sweet simian organ. It may not look like much, but once I turn this into a bottle of Torresian...